On this week's episode, we talk about news of the world.
And all the news of pop culture.
Hey you! Happy birthday!
Hey, thank you. It's my birthday. It's my birthday. It's my birthday.
I don't want to make a big deal about like age or anything, but you have unlocked level 40 and done it with great style.
Yeah.
So, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you're alive.
Yeah. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Still no PlayStation 5.
No.
And the news tell us that this whole PlayStation 5 drought, that's what it's called, right? Drought.
Yeah.
It could go all the way to the end of the year.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You know when we finally get one?
So was COVID. Joe Biden just said that by Christmas we'll be okay. So by Christmas we'll have a PlayStation 5. Or movies. Who knows? But what you saying?
Let's say when you get one, the episode I think should just be you holding it.
Yeah.
Like
some people talking about holding it, and you mentioned holding it, and it's big.
Yes.
And talking about holding it, some people are skipping, and apparently they did that with PS4 and PS3. I'm not sure, but some people are already skipping PS5, waiting for PS5 Slim, which is usually the smaller, skinnier version. Because PS5 is gigantic. I know, but they will release. They always do release a smaller, skinnier version. And we don't know how it's gonna look, so maybe it's not gonna be that different. But yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, yay! Happy birthday to me. This week I'm on birthday, Valentine's Day, President's Day. We didn't see anything for President's Day.
Not really. It was a day. It happened.
Yeah. President's Day and snow. Lots of snow here. Everywhere. So there's a lot of snow. We did see the new Tom Hanks movie, Paul Greengrass. News of the World. And spoiler alert.
Yes.
Good.
It was good. I mean, I it's a Tom Hanks movie. I was pretty sure it was going to be good.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever been like terribly disappointed or anything, but this one was very good.
Yeah.
It had like every good thing about a Western, but it was a lot more than that too. I thought you had like, horses and gunfights and everything, but also like a really beautiful story. The film also stars, his co-star is a young girl named Helena Zengel, and I looked her up, so that I would know her name, but also she is actually German.
I thought so.
Yeah. She's from Berlin, so. So this is the story of, we've got Tom Hanks, who plays a man named Captain Kidd, and his job is set in 1870?
Yes, I guess it's the whole thing takes place in 1870.
Yeah.
The book is based on a novel, so it's another one from the series. Books based on movies
based on
books that we didn't read.
Yes.
So we didn't know if it was a good adaptation, but it was a good movie.
It was. So it's 1870. It's Texas, and we meet this man, Captain Kidd, whose job is traveling from town to town in this wild frontier little state of Texas.
So it's 1870. So it's post-war.
Yes.
So how long after the war?
5 years.
So 5 years after the war. He was a captain during the Civil War.
In the Confederacy.
Yes.
Yes. So he travels from town to town reading the news. And so just some background, and they do a great job of like showing this throughout the film. It's not just the story of like the Tom Hanks and this little girl. It's set against a lot of the turmoil in Texas at the time. Texas was trying to come back from the Civil War, regain like statehood, but there's also a lot of tension. Like a lot of these guys were very happy with the Confederacy and are very unhappy being part of the Union again and being forced to accept the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments and the whole, like, black people are actually people and not slaves thing. So there's a lot of chaos, a lot of tension, and a lot of violence because of that. Because also Texas is occupied by federal troops. And so we see a lot of interactions between federal troops and the locals and all this other stuff. And so Captain Kidd. Oh, yeah. And as if that's not enough, we also have people, settlers pushing west. And as they push west, they're driving out the Native Americans. And that kind of gives us the setting, or the origins of this story.
Yeah. Just one quick thing about this. All this is very interesting, but one thing that I thought was interesting, funny, it was like when we saw the trailer, I kind of was like, the guy goes from town to town reading the news. That's kind of ridiculous. But once you watch, he does what newscasters do these days. It's basically the same.
Yeah.
He sits down and it's like, and tonight we're gonna read the news of the world. Let's start local. And then he reads the news. It's like, it's the exact same thing. Nothing changed. If anything, he didn't write the news, but he reads the news. But some, so those broadcasters, those newscasters on TV, they don't go out and do everything. People write for them to read. They announce pieces that other people write and produce. So he's basically doing a journalistic job, but
he is. And something else I thought was interesting about that is like the dramatic flair he puts on it.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just reading it out. He carefully chooses the stories. He organizes them, and we see him like going through newspapers and stuff. But then he'll tell the stories in a very dramatic way too. So for these people, who come to see him, it's not just getting the news. Like, there's an element of entertainment too.
Yeah. It's just like TV.
Exactly yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep.
It was very interesting.
But back to the story.
Yes. So, as he's on his way, he's on a road and he comes upon an overturned wagon, and so he pulls out his shotgun and is like, oh boy, what's going on? And there's blood on the ground, and he sees a body hanging with a sign on it that says like no, and it's a black man who'd been hanged. And it's like, oh man, this is bad. And he gets back to the wagon and he sees there's a little girl in there, and a little girl wearing like Native American type clothing, but like a leather dress with fringe and everything, but she has like these like icy shocking blue eyes and blonde hair, and he's like, what in the world? And so he finds documents saying that she had been taken from a Kiowa family, and this man who had been hanged was supposed to take her back to her family. So it turns out she had been kidnapped as a little girl, and the Kiowa had killed her parents, and so she'd been brought up as part of like the Kiowa tribe, and had a family and parents there, and now they'd been killed, and she was taken.
Do you know how long she was there? Because she does speak the language, so she was there for a while.
For a while, I feel like at one point they said like 6 years.
6 years, okay.
That
makes sense.
Yeah.
She was like what, around 12, so she was there since 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this girl, like, she doesn't speak English. She's obviously going through a lot. Anyway, so he takes her with him back to the next town, where there's a federal like fort or something, and so he goes to talk to the federal authorities. Like, look, I found this girl. She has this documentation with her. And the guy says, well, you can take her to her family, or you can wait here for 3 months. It's up to you.
Yeah. And of course he's like, I'm not gonna wait. Mm-hmm. So he takes the girl to, it's the same town, right? He has friends.
I think so. He has a friend
in town, and it's like, hey, so you have kids, you take care of kids, you're gonna have to take care of this one kid for me, please, friend. But it doesn't work because the girl she's what can I call wild. She's tough. She's she knows what she wants. She knows what she needs, and it's like, I'm not gonna stay here. And then she runs and see the Native American, the Indians walking down the river, moving west, and she starts screaming in Kiowa that it's like, take me, don't wait for me. I want to go. I'm part of you, and they either don't hear or don't care. This white
I don't
girl.
think they heard. It's in the middle of a thunderstorm.
Yes, and it's on the other side of this long river. What's the river?
I don't remember the name of the river.
Yeah, it's like
it wasn't like a major one, but it was
Water River. Yeah, and
Water River.
Yeah, right by the town.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Tom Hanks' character is Captain Kidd. Is like, okay, so this is not working here, and I'll take her. So he takes her, and they talk. I mean, he tries to talk to her because she doesn't speak English. So he teaches a little bit of English and talks about his life and her life and asks her questions. And in one interaction, he says something and says good, and she says good, and then he realizes that she's, hey, good? You German?
Yeah.
You remember? And a little bit here and there he starts getting from her.
Yeah, she starts remembering some things, like who she was before she had been kidnapped, and oh man, this girl, like, oh, it's just so sad. She's been orphaned twice. She's seen like 2 families murdered in front of her.
Yeah.
And now has to rely on strangers. She can't even talk with. Oh man.
And even the strangers, the guy that is taking her is killed. This guy that is taking her is like, first he tried to get rid of her in a proper way, through the authorities and then through friends.
Yeah.
But he lives. He rides through that region, and he's at risk all the time. So her new guardian might be dead, might be killed anytime.
Yeah, because of course so they have 400 miles to go, and of course it's 400 miles through some. Everybody's saying like, hey, that's a really bad road right now. You don't want to be going into that area. That's not good here. Like, take my gun. So they set up that this isn't going to be like just your ordinary 400-mile journey through the wilderness. It's going to be, and so they encounter all kinds of different problems. There's the there's a guy who wants to buy her, so there's like some human trafficking type stuff going on, and so he has to rescue her from those people, and there's like a whole pursuit through the mountains and the rocks and a shootout, and then they meet
She does help during the shootout because he doesn't have an actual weapon. I mean, his friend gives him a pistol, but he has a shotgun that he carries, but it's
birdshot
to scare people. It's only birdshot.
Yeah.
And she put coins. Cleverly, she puts coins in the cartridges, and that's what he uses to kill the bad guys.
Yeah, and that's kind of their first like real bonding experience. So after that, she sings a song about him, and she paints the horse. She puts like 3 handprints on the horse for like the 3 men that he killed, and lightning for the gun. And
yep.
Oh, which is something else interesting about this. So she is speaking Kiowa through most of the movie. Usually when she's speaking Kiowa, and we get subtitles for what she says. And of course, everybody around her has no idea, but we get to see what she's saying.
Yes.
You know, the songs she's singing about, like their adventures. She sings about what's happened to her. She sings about, you know, like the Americans coming and driving the Kiowa off of their land and everything. And so I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. And he meets threats through the way. They meet threats through the way, but they meet friends. When they stop by, it's Houston, right? Houston.
Dallas.
It's Dallas.
Yeah.
When they stop by Dallas, he meets this old lady friend, and she speaks Kiowa, and then from her he gets a lot of information on what happened to her to that point. He didn't know, it was like, oh, this girl, and then she explains everything. She talks to him, and she says she want to go home, and the lady translated for him, and
yeah, it's rough. So
we also learn a bit about him. There's a wife, but he's away. He's away for a long time, and at that point, that's when we know we see a picture. He has a picture of her, and she has a name. So is the girl. The girl has two names: Cicada and
Johanna.
Cicada is the Kiowa name she got or someone gave to her, and Johanna is her birth name.
Yeah.
So they go together to the wilderness and to towns, reading the news, and they meet this. What those are? Buffalo skinners.
Yeah. Oh man, they get to this one county. What was it? Erath. County, and someone stops them and says, "Hey, you can't travel through here." He says, "I just want to," and it turns out these people are like super, like crazy, scary. There's this man who, they're slaughtering all the buffalo, tanning their hide, and this is something that happened too. There's a kind of a systematic slaughter of the buffaloes. That was one of the tools that they used to get rid of Native Americans. Anyway, so this guy, we see that he's kind of made himself in charge of the county, and he's got this whole business where he's forcing people to like kill the buffalo and for their hides and for their skulls, and so he brings Captain Kidd and Johanna into town, and he gives them this newspaper that he made up, like he printed himself, all about how great he is. He's like, okay, you got to read this. And we can see that it's a pretty dangerous situation. Like, this is very, like, a violent, lawless place. And so Captain Kidd gets up to read the news, and he says, well, I'm supposed to read you this newspaper, but I'm actually going to read you this story about this coal mine and how the people, like, fought against... Well, anyway, he reads them a story about workers who fought back against like horrific, dangerous working conditions, and everybody loves it, and he kind of inspires them to stand up and rebel against their horrible, psycho, creepy overlord.
Yeah, it's an interesting parallel. Like we talked about him being a newscaster. Man delivering the news. Here we have a politician, a powerful man wanting to buy the news,
Yes.
To buying like the man that spread the news to spread things to benefit him to spread lies.
Yeah. So as they go through all this, he and Johanna are becoming closer and closer. They are learning to communicate with each other. She really loves to listen to his stories, and she helps collect the money, and so they have a good relationship with each other, and they go through some really horrific things together. So not just the dangers of other people out on the frontier, but also the just some of the inherent like natural dangers. At one point they lose their wagon, they lose their horses, and they're stuck walking, and they don't have any water, and they're like on the verge of death, and so they go through a lot together, and they end up getting really close because of that. And so at one point she stops, and he says, hey, we got to keep going on this main road, but she goes off on this little side road, and it turns out she remembers it because she walks back to her childhood home, and they find it abandoned. There's still like bloodstains on the walls, and so she's kind of confronting and remembering her past and the trauma, and he's trying to protect her from it. And there's a lot going on in this movie. Lots of levels. His past, her past, their own personal journey together, all the craziness happening on the frontier. And anyway, they go through all that, and he finally gets her to her aunt and uncle's house, which is where he's supposed to leave her.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't work, and the uncle and aunt put her into chains, not chains, into.
But they do tie her up outside.
Tied her outside, and when Tom Hanks goes back, and he goes back to get her, he's first he goes to his old house and we finally find out about the wife. That the wife there was a wife, but she was dead, and he's alone and she's alone, and he's like, and I think it worked really well with Tom Hanks. I don't know if it would work with anyone else, because the way the character evolution is not visible per se, is more internal. It's more how they feel and more how they connect to each other. So he finally goes back there, and he sees that situation, and it's like, nope. He gets her and takes her in as a daughter that needs a father, and a father that needs a daughter, or a human connection, a family, and that's the interesting thing. The how we find family in all these places, and these people find together, and they live happily ever until the credits roll. But he keeps going, reading the news from time to time, and she's there with him, and she does like sound effects for the
she becomes a part of it,
and and she becomes Johanna Kid. And it's really nice. It is. I personally think that there's a lot of credit to Tom Hanks. If it was someone else, I don't know if it would work as it does. It
is definitely a big role it's a big role to fill, especially because he kind of carries the movie.
She does a terrific job.
She does,
too.
yeah.
But
she's stellar, but
he's the one that not only tells the news to the people, but tells the story to us, because we read what she says, but even then she doesn't speak much.
Yeah.
But he's the one that makes the big decisions and change his life and her life, as he decided to keep her, he decided to take her, as he decided to leave her, as he decided to get her back, as he decided to take her as a daughter.
Yeah. Through the whole thing, I kept thinking of that nickname he has, is America's Dad.
Yeah. And
I feel like this is definitely like an America's Dad movie. It works very well for him, like his persona as a person, but also his strengths as an actor. There's also just a lot of fun, like Western movie stuff. Maybe fun isn't the right word, because we were talking about like very violent things, but this might be kind of weird, but I feel like Western movies have like great sound effects. You've got like the horses and the leather and like the guns and all that. So it's like all the, I don't know, there's just a lot working for this movie, and they did a great job with casting, writing, all these different levels of the narrative. And anyway, we just spent like almost half an hour going through the story, and that was like the short version. But it's only a 2-hour movie, but like a lot happens. And a lot of it is very emotional. Anyway, I highly recommend it. It's a great film.
News of the World, starring Tom Hanks. It's in the theaters everywhere and on demand if you don't want to go out.
Yeah, but it's worth it.
Okay, talking about news of the world. The news of the world of entertainment.
We watched a couple new shows. This week.
The new broadcast, right? Nothing on cable. Yeah, the broadcast shows. So Young Rock. We saw Kenan. We saw we were behind, but we saw episodes of The Mayor. Anything else?
That's right, Mr. Mayor.
Call Me Cat.
Yeah.
Well, anything new? I think that's it.
That's all that's coming to mind.
Yeah.
And then some other like older shows have new seasons.
New seasons, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So is it the Mayor or Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor.
I think it's Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah.
So this is a Tina Fey's project. Ted Danson, and a whole bunch of other people. Oh, Holly Hunter. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's terrific on it.
This show is spectacular.
Nothing original. The show is basically what Spin City did for, 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
With Michael J. Fox back in the day. Mm-hmm. There's a main difference that Michael J. Fox was the reasonable, smart guy that would help the crazy mayor on Spin City, and they even look alike, the mayors. In this one, that reasonable, intelligent people does not exist. No. There's no one in the mayor in City Hall that is the person with wisdom and intelligence to help the mayor, to help the city, which is super real. Maybe that's tells us about
maybe that is Los Angeles City Hall.
Tell us a lot about politics these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, but it's hilarious.
So funny. And there's a lot of familiar faces. I don't remember everybody's names, but Holly Hunter, Ted Danson, and Bobby Moynihan are probably the big names. And then there's other familiar faces.
And there's a neighbor from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yes.
And the Asian guy, I never seen him before, so.
No, I haven't seen him. But then the daughter from Speechless.
That's right, yeah.
Is Ted Danson's daughter.
Kennedy? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. But a pretty solid cast, and it's a lot like 30 Rock. In fact, the soundtrack is almost identical.
Yeah.
But like this
kind of
like
camera, same way.
Yeah, single camera, kind of a workplace setting. Everybody's like slightly insane and dysfunctional.
There's even a joke. This is a hilarious joke that Moynihan's like, oh, I'm walking with you. It's like he's walking with the mayor. It's like, oh, what's his name? Jaden. It's like, oh, Jaden, you walking with me? It's like, yeah, you're the only one that I can keep up with.
Yeah.
The whole walk and talk thing.
The walk and talk. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And like Holly Hunter is killing it. Yeah. The first couple episodes, like, okay, she's funny. I love her. Anyway, so I'm predisposed to like her. But the last couple episodes we've seen, oh my gosh, she's like stealing the show. Yeah. The woman's a brilliant comedian. So that's probably my favorite new show this season. I hope it gets renewed forever.
Mr. Mayor is on NBC. Mm-hmm. Weeknights. I mean, not weeknights. One night of the week. I can't remember which one. Anyway, also on Hulu. Mm-hmm. What else? Talking about renewals real quick. A couple shows got early renewal.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Hart's Abishola at CBS.
Inexplicably.
Yeah, I mean, someone might love that show, or what's his bucket check? Lord might be sleeping with some big wigs at CBS. Anyways, and The Neighborhood, Subject Entertainment, and what's his bucket? The white guy?
Max Greenfield.
Something
like that.
That one is fun.
Yes.
That one's good.
And Tichina Arnold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other show that was renewed?
Not that I can think of. A couple that were ending. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, tragically, is this its last season or?
This will be the last season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's not that tragic. It's had 8 seasons, and I'd rather a show finish strong than.
Yeah, and there's other thing with the whole pressure from last year, cancel culture towards police, and all the shows that got canceled. That one was mentioned throughout the whole thing, and it was. They would either have to change drastically to fulfill the narratives people want to propagate, or it would end. So the show's gonna end this year after one season. It had a really good run, and hopefully they will end well. And who knows, maybe in the future it might be back. Even if it was a special like they did to 30 Rock recently.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Revival, reboot. Who knows? but but the show was on the path of finishing things, concluding things since Santiago, that girl's character, I can't remember her name, Melissa Fumero, Melissa Fumero's character, there's married to Peralta, Indy Samberg character.
There we go.
They want a baby, so maybe might be their way out.
Sure.
Starting a family and going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Usually.
If anything, that's like a warm fuzzy finale.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Since the original finale, because the show ended, right?
That's right.
Since the original finale was a wedding, the second finale, having a baby would be very appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So NBC's Brooklyn Nine-Nine is coming back. When is coming back? Soon. It should come back on the fall, right? Last fall, but everything was pushed.
Anymore.
Yeah. Anyways.
Weird time.
So that there is last season, another one with last season announced Superstore. We knew about that one, but they just announced the date and the length of the finale is gonna be 1 hour, and it's the show that the main character left, and they survived one season, which is, I guess, is the minimum they could. 2 would be the standard for the shows that I went through. That we talked about Spin City when Michael J. Fox left. Charlie Sheen took over for 2 years. When Steve Carell left The Office, same thing. Everybody else took over for 2 years. And honestly, for The Office, I think they could do more because the whole ensemble, the whole cast still had star power.
They did.
And they were interesting enough to keep going. Which is not the case for Superstore, because her character was like very, very important for the show. When she left, they still talk a lot about her.
They do. Honestly, I'm enjoying the show without her quite a bit, but Jonah has become unbearable. His character makes no sense without Amy around.
But he was always like that. That's the thing. When she was there, she would like balancing, or she would like, it's like, shut up, Jonah, get out here.
It's true, but also like he had a reason to exist. Like he was the love interest. But now he's just this annoying little twerp who, oh man, I can't stand him. I can't stand him. But they have a strong enough cast that I've enjoyed this season with the supporting characters. Yeah. I'm not mad it's ending, but it's...
Yeah. But it's very similar to The Office. Even the producer, the showrunner, he was a producer on The Office, and the company was bought by a bigger company. The main character leaves, so that's all that. And but it's gonna end after this season. Another one that lost a main character and also not gonna go beyond one season without the main character's mom.
And that's too bad. This show just still puzzles me. Like, on paper, it just doesn't sound like a good show. But it really is. And I thought they've done a great job without...
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. But it's also ending.
Yeah. I mean, this one, if anything, this one was like always too big. From the beginning, it was always too big characters. Both moms. One is mom of this mom, teenage mom. There's mom as a kid. Anyways,
most moms have kids.
So Anna Faris and Allison Janney, and the show expanded in a very interesting way because in the beginning we had only 2 characters, and then someone shows up and the character grows and stays. And another one, and then a love interest for the mom, and then a sister, a foster sister from a long time ago that becomes part of the AA group, and I think it was very interesting because they lost some characters from the beginning. The daughter, the youngest daughter, with her son.
Mm.
It was her son, right? Everybody had a kid on this show.
But Anna Faris had a son and a daughter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was Anna Faris' son. It was not the daughter's son. Former Anna Faris' husband. We lost all that.
Oh, that's right.
And we got new characters. And, more interesting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a very adult show because they are all adults and their problems are adults. Losing the kids was a good move to stay in the realm of adulthood, you know, with their issues with alcohol, drugs, and gambling, and every problem they have.
Yeah. But you know, a lot of those characters are reaching... I think a couple of these shows have this in common. Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. Like, these characters have had really great development over the course of the show, and they're just reaching good finishing places. Like, they have stable relationships. They, you know, if that makes sense, they've been reaching goals. Like, Anna Faris is off at law school.
Yeah.
Allison Janney has, like, a great marriage and is, like, a mature, put-together person now. And,
yeah.
You know, whereas, like Jake Peralta, where he's gone from, like, a goofball to probably dad.
Still a goofball.
Still a goofball, but, like, you know, in a more, like, responsible, competent sort of way.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've just reached good stopping points or, like, good milestones in their development. Like,
True.
the end of the arc, and that's a good place to end a show, I think.
True. So, Mom is on CBS, and this is the final season. Fun fact, Allison Janney got, it was an Emmy or Golden Globe, I can't remember which one. A couple of years ago for 2 shows. One was like a very dramatic show. I think it was Masters of Sex. And the other one was a comedy. And she won both for that year. So I was like, yeah, she range.
Kind of boss.
Yeah. Anything else on shows leaving?
Not shows leaving.
Okay. About the new shows, we saw the Mayor. There was Mr. Mayor. There was actually 6 episodes in. We were behind, but we also saw the pilots, the first episodes for Kenan and Young Rock, both NBC. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kenan stars, obviously, Kenan Thompson, playing a newly single dad named Kenan. He's he's got 2 daughters. He lives with his father-in-law lives with him. His wife recently passed away. We don't know why yet. But she recently passed away. But he's a morning show star/host.
The friend is always there, so I don't know. The poster says like, "Oh, it takes 3 men to raise kids."
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think the friend lives there, but he's always around.
Yeah, he's a morning show host, and he's a funny guy, but at least in the first episode, there's like some moments of deep, like important things for him, and he comes out like strongly and even like rude about it. I don't want to talk about my past.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's a tone. I don't know. It was a pilot. Pilots are often a little like awkward. It doesn't feel like they've settled yet, which is to be expected.
But thinking about the father, he calls him ex-father-in-law, and then I was thinking, not that doesn't mean anything, but the wife is black, as he's black, and the kids are black, and the ex-father-in-law is. No, he does mention her as his daughter. Does he? It's his daughter.
It is his daughter.
Okay. Because it's a comedy. It could be like the father of another relationship that he had, but he's still there.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's his daughter.
But that's right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's another show about the back behind the scenes of TV, and he's a TV star, and he has this and he has life. Let's see. So far, so good.
Yeah. It was fine. So the other one we started was Young Rock. And this one had, I thought, sort of a surprising premise. So this is the not a biopic, but anyway, this is about...
It's biographical, memorialistic.
It is,
retell of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. life as a kid, and they did that before with fiction, with Wonder Years, and like reality with Chris Rock. And this one is the same. The plot device for narrating the story is very different, at least in the pilot.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how far they'll take this into the show, but in the pilot, it's 2032, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is traveling the country campaigning for president, which at this point doesn't seem like such a bad idea, to be frank. So the plot device is, as part of his campaign, he sat down with journalist Randall Park, played by Randall Park. And he's doing like kind of an in-depth expose interview about his life, so talking about his childhood, his roots, his background. And this, it looks like the show's going to be showing like different phases of his life.
Oh yeah.
At the same time.
That's another main difference. He instead of going for the whole the character grows up like they did with Chris or Wonder Years, in this one he picked 3 different actors and they split the story into different timelines, which it's a pretty clever way. You know, it's like if the show gets canceled, I don't know, after a season even, or 2 or 3.
Point, yeah.
But if the show gets canceled, let's say after a season, he was able to tell, like, you know, big aspects of 3 different times of his life, which, you know, with Chris Rock, the show was canceled right when he drops out of high school, and things would change. We would learn a lot of other things about him, but the show got canceled. If it was like this, you know, 3 different, But it's interesting. The characters, the actors they picked are really good. They really look like him. The parents really look like the parents. We see Andrew the
Giant, yeah, that was a fun surprise.
Wrestling famous professionals, and MMA Waffle.
Oh my god. Yeah. So we've got his childhood in Hawaii. We've got his, you know, like adult, like
15.
Yeah, so I guess like high school in Pennsylvania, and then college in Miami.
Yeah. Oh,
so those are like the 3 phases
places
of his life. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and there's plenty to tell, you know, as his life, and yeah.
Yeah, it looks fun.
It does look fun. The guy, and he's there not only as a voice, which he could definitely pull it off, narrating. Yeah. But we see him, so good thing. Let's see how it goes from the following episodes. Yeah. Since the pilot is pretty much it, so we'll see. So yeah, Young Rock and Kenan on NBC, on Hulu also. Yeah. Last but not least, we do see some trailers. We saw the trailers for the Snyder Cut Justice League.
Yes, what a lovely Valentine's gift.
And it was big.
Yeah.
It was, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. There were some people on a Facebook group I'm part of who saw it who aren't really aware of the whole Snyder Cut saga, and they're like, wait a second. What the heck? This is a completely different movie. I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, and if you don't know, Joss Whedon's version of Justice League used 30 minutes of footage directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Everything else was on Whedon. He reshot 1 hour and a half or something. Snyder gonna use those 30 minutes because he said he's not gonna use any Whedon footage. He's gonna use his 30 minutes, and he's gonna add to that 3 hours and a half, so the movie's gonna be 4 hours. It's gonna be a different movie.
Yeah, completely different. More. I was very intrigued by like we get a lot more of the bad guys
and good guys. There's a lot of cyborg backstory. There's a lot of Superman. There's maybe Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter. The trailer doesn't show, but there's a lot of rumors about it.
Yeah.
If anything, the soundtrack for this one's so good. Yeah. John Cassell is, gonna be big. Yes.
Big and more, I think, are good ways to describe the Snyder Cut at this juncture.
Yeah. It's
bigger, it's more, it's just
Snyder Cut Justice League is gonna be out on HBO Max on March 18. In a lot of places, even in some other countries too. And last we saw the trailer for Cruella.
Yeah, so I totally forgot this was a thing. But the trailer actually I thought looked pretty good.
It does.
Emma Stone is the titular character. Cruella, her accent is just chef's kiss. Perfect.
Is she supposed to have an accent? I did notice a French accent with the character. English? At the end she's like, I'm Cruella.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds
Who is English?
French. Anyways, I didn't see the original. I don't know. But if anything, I thought she looked good and she had this incredible evil laugh.
Yeah. She nailed it. And not just something I was happy to see. I think this movie references a lot the animation and maybe not a little bit the 101 Dalmatians, the live action.
Is it different? Very different?
There are some notable differences.
Yeah, okay.
And setting. And Glenn Close is a very different Cruella than the animated Cruella. But I don't know. I think this looks good. I was not a fan of. I haven't seen the Maleficent movies.
I hope it's not like Maleficent.
I hope not, because that character I feel like never needed a backstory.
And I mean, it could have a backstory as long as she would stay evil. And they make her, it's like, oh, she's bad because this happened to her. You would be bad. No, stop trying to humanize bad guys. Bad guys are the reason we have bad guys. It's role models. You have the good guy, you have the bad guy. Yeah. So kids will learn about being good and about being bad. And consequences of both.
Like in the movie, she literally, she loves being bad. She's totally fine with it. She her henchman, she says they're a disgrace to the forces of evil. When she transforms into a dragon, there's this great moment. She clashes her staff against the ground and just something that now you face me and all the powers of hell. And this woman is bad and she's really good at being bad. Anyway, from the trailer, I don't know if they're gonna go down that road.
I hope not.
Maybe a little bit.
Her name is Cruella.
I know, her name is Cruella.
So, yeah.
But she kind of embraces. She's like, yeah, I'm crazy. And so we might have a Disney version of Joker's descent into
pretty much
madness.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks good.
It does look good.
And I really like Emma Stone.
She looks terrific. So Emma Stone as Cruella for Disney. Is Disney Disney Plus? What's the deal with that?
I honestly don't remember.
Well, we'll be back with more information about that. But that's it, right?
That's everything. That's a lot.
So I guess that's it for this week. See you next week with more and more.
Yes. Live long and prosper.
May the force be with you.
Bye.
Bye.